Hi guys, hi everybody, welcome to Cat Tarot, welcome to my channel. My name is Kat. So let me start first of all with very short housekeeping. I'm on vacay from the 1st to the 7th, so upon my return I will address the readings in order, which will be first urgent, then rush, then regular. And I expect that you're still going to get within the time that you have ordered. So be careful with ordering basically urgent during that week. Also, I won't be able to be contacted, so all of the messages will be returned on the 8th. So guys, also don't forget to join social media, and also remember that I have live on Saturdays. It's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. During the summer months, it's going to be bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks is going to be live. Also, if you're part of my mailing list, which you can go on my website to kind of sign yourself on, then you can get some notification as well. So lastly, guys, if you're new here, welcome. And if there is anything that really resonates with you, one statement, two, whatever, usually not everything resonates because this is a general reading, but if anything resonates, that means that message was meant for you. I also suggest that you check not only your sun sign but also your ascendant and your moon. That's going to give you better kind of like triptych to kind of pull all of things together. So this month, because as probably you can hear, I have horrifying allergies, so it's really hard for me to talk. I'm going to kind of like be more focused, maybe really quick 10 minutes within what YouTube recommends. And I'm going to start with astrology because you really liked it last month, and I'm also going to combine with tarot. So let's do that. Alright, so the astrological overview. The first significant astrologic event of July 2020 is a lunar eclipse, just like the previous month. Also, like the previous month, the eclipse happens on the 5th, but this time the Sun-Moon opposition is on the Cancer-Capricorn axis, which basically foretells certain situations, and they usually relate to career, or to home, or family. And these situations are either going to reach resolution or some kind of climax. So that keeps it in mind, right? It's kind of like that huggy feeling, but it's also there is like an ambition connecting to it. So many of us might deal with events or situations that put our emotional maturity to the test. And this is like being like a little baby, kind of like, I want this, I want this. So, but if you catch yourself doing that, you go, oh, that's what it is. I'm not completely lost it, right? I didn't completely lose it, right? So many of us may deal kind of like with the situation that we will be tested if we have ability to persevere on our chosen path by honoring our families, but really also at the same time remaining independent from them. So in some cases, this energy of this lunar eclipse can spur an epiphany kind of related to how our families have shaped and influenced choices we have made in our lives, right? Lannister always pays his debts. It's kind of like something that family kind of like ingrained inside of us. So some of us might even decide to make significant changes when it comes to our career or the direction in which our lives were going. And we might actually also reach conclusion that we have been going by the desires of our parents instead of following our own star, following our own dreams. So maybe you want to look and transport yourself back 2 years, because there was like some kind of situation that started like 2 years ago, and now it's ending. It's making room for new directions to go in. So this Sun-Moon opposition happens around the lunar nodes, and they are situated on Gemini Sagittarius axis, which suggests the need to free ourselves from that obsolete kind of thing. It's sort of like beliefs or dogmas and something we keep repeating, but it's kind of like you're wondering, like, how do I really connect with this, right? And especially if you have South Node in Sagittarius, which is kind of like being that master in the past life and now needing to communicate it in Gemini, right? So in order to embrace these new ideas, which is that North Node in Gemini, maybe it is a time to ask ourselves what really family means to us. what really happy family is. Hello? Anybody read Anna Karenina? And also whether we can regard society as a whole as a larger family, as part of which we all should contribute. So this guy is really age of Aquarius coming on. Everything that you're seeing outside, it's kind of need for equality. Sometimes the pendulum swings one way too much, but the whole point is understanding that we all want the same. You and the next person, you all want the same. You want happiness, you want love, you want peace. Yeah, maybe one person can have better shoes than the other one, but how important that really is, right? Because the circumstances that we are going to see on a social level can be a sort of a buildup of frustration, and that's why we see this manifestation of unrest, right? So until July 22nd, 2020, lots of twos, 222020, so 4 of them. The Sun transits Cancer. So that's basically also, there's Mercury until July 12th. So this is kind of like we need to deal with that retrograde as well. So throughout the month, the Sun and Mercury are in opposition to these other retrograde planets from Capricorn. So like, I mean, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. So as a result, we will notice that it's not quite easy to find a balance between a private and professional lives. Many of us are working from home, and this could be pandemic kind of like imposed, or it could be that you're self-employed and you really have to figure out how to motivate yourself when you're sort of like not, especially if you're extrovert, where you kind of like need other people, how to draw that energy when you're like kind of like withdrawn or secluded, right? So it might be tensions with family members or higher-ups, so kind of like no time to kind of like make these big waves, but discussions have a great chance of proving to be really productive, provided that we are patient enough. Cancer is one patient sign. So happy birthday, Cancers. If I'm forgetting to say that, it is your time, and it is really amazing how one sign can encompass both this like kind of come to my heart, come, and shrewdness about focusing and chasing your own goals. So let's go back also to that retrograde planets in Capricorn, that are Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, but Mars is still in Aries, and this is its own domicile. So just think about, you came home. You're not anymore at Aunt's house. You no longer have to dress for breakfast. You no longer kind of like have to comb your hair and everything. You can kick and do whatever you want, right? So as of the end of the previous month, 27th, and it has the opposite effect, right? So as a result, we are really confident in our own devices, and sometimes this is too much. You see people who you think like, oh, you really shouldn't be confident, but it's kind of like ultimately a good thing, because we all are kind of like walking that perch, and we all are going to face our own demons. So there is no need for us to correct anybody, right? And it's going to be really strong need for novelty and pioneering, and we might run into obsolete system. So I don't know, maybe your grandparents will want you to kind of like check their, what was this, like 8-track or something, kind of like hilarious. So kind of like, again, advice is just be patient, guys, in this situation. So keep in mind that, you know, during the near future, we can progress without keeping in mind the past, right? So for some of us, this might be a right time to resume some older projects that we have been postponing for whatever reason. So Mars is the one that gives us the desire to see this project through, and also gives us that dose of boldness which we have been missing in the past. So socially, however, there might be a buildup of frustrations and tensions that might trigger a conflict. It would be like, blah, like I always wanted to tell you, but blah, it's all out there, right? And so it can trigger that conflict, and it can blow up as of August 2020. That's when Mars will square with the planet situated in Capricorn, right? During this term, it's more important than ever to carefully weigh Our every decision, gesture, and word, whatever we're talking about love life, sex life, professional projects, your social life, whatever, right? We should always keep in mind the long-term consequences and even remember the mistakes of the past so we don't make them again. Yeah, we usually remember that later. So during this term, saving graces can be professionalism, a responsible attitude, all kind of like we have to thank to Cancer for teaching us all of that, and also the ability to come up with long-term strategies. We also shouldn't feel obligated to solve all issues at once or the same moment, the same day. So since Mars spends a lot of time in its domicile sign, so it's usually spending 6 weeks, and now it's spending whopping 6 months, right? It's going to be also in retrograde motion in September, in the fall, right? So everything we now initiate is likely to go through an ample process of remaking and redefining a couple of months from now, because that's what happens in retrograde. You're looking, like, did I switch the light off? Did it, like, you're checking yourself a little bit, right? So do not rush it, right? Then we also have conjunction of Mars and Chiron, July 12th to 16th, which points out the fact that in some of our lives, some older issues and frustrations might come to light when we thought them long gone, right? We can make the most of the energy of this conjunction in order to become aware of the wounds that trigger an aggressive self-defense mechanism. Conjunction means they're really, really close, right? 2 degrees close. So almost like in the sky, they look like they're hugging, kind of a thing, right? So this is also kind of like finding a way toward healing. And by doing that, again, as I said, we are all connected. You have to keep others in mind too, right? So don't kind of like think, oh, I got hurt, I'm going to make you suffer as well. That's not going to work unless you want to kind of bring some really negative karma points on you, right? So Mars also, because now we have Mars in Aries and Venus in Gemini, so very flirty, very aggressive, right? So socially, it's going to be kind of like bursting. It's going to be open and it's going to be daring, and maybe getting a chance to build new connections. I guess stay safe as I'm saying this, but this simply, many of us will forget that kind of like word of caution, right? So the effects of the Mars-Venus combo also mean good news for those who are involved in older or even newer relationships, because they can easily kind of like evade the day-to-day rut and come up with really smart comeback that create a desire for flirting and goofing around, right? It's like usually when we really need to say something, clever, like we get stuck and then we say something boring and go, I had this opportunity. Why did I kind of like lose it, right? Also keeping in mind that at the same time, possessive or codependent people, or some of those people who decide, nope, I'm not going to change. Oh, sweet negative me, I'm going to be the switch, what it is. They're going to feel completely out of base. They're going to feel really weirded out. It's going to be really super easy to spot them, almost as if all the lights are shining on them, and not in a good way, right? Because the energy of this term favors relationships in which partners know how to allow each other space and freedom of thought, right? So that's much so far, guys, and let's go in the individual signs and see how, in addition, that spiritually. Hello Sagittarians, and welcome to your July reading. So let's see what is in store for you. So I don't know if you listened to your astrology in before, but this is just giving a little bit kind of a soulful approach to your month. So let's start. The bottom of the deck is 7 of Swords, and the very first major underneath is, oh my gosh, the majors are hiding, is the Justice reversed, and it's also the Magician and the Star. Oh my freaking God, this is all hiding. So which means it might not necessarily come to the fore entirely this month, but you have some currents underneath you that are going in all kind of directions, because this card over here talks about enemies. This card over here talks about somebody taking things away from you, somebody maybe scheming certain things, because look at this, the mice rule over here while the kitty is sleeping, and things are going to just vanish. This card is also about all grievances, right? Because you also had the King of Cups, but I think I also saw the King of Wands. Was it King of Pentacles as well? No, the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. So it looks like there are like lots of people here that have certain grievances over here, and maybe this is you feeling cheated. Maybe this is you feeling, oh my gosh, you know, things have been taken away from me. Because look at that, check it out. There is like that 7 repeating over here, which is talking about this Cancer transitioning, and this is all kind of like connecting to the moon, both of these cards. So these kind of like eclipses, lunar eclipse is going to make a really big impact on you, as well as the new moon, right? But this is talking about kind of like intuitive knowledge and trying to move certain things forward, even though, like, I mean, and it's like typical that like kind of Jupiter energy that you guys, like, I mean, kind of like exude. It's very positive, you really want to do it, but you are having one block after another, this being a karma card, the last, right? So there is the Star, there is like this hopefulness. You want to do something and you are just going to find a way. The Magician is a trickster. The Magician is going to say, yeah, I did it, but it's not done. It's the wool over your thing, right? And that's why the Justice is coming here reversed. Be very careful, guys. You're like on a very slippery slope ground here. I really have to tell you this. This kind of like really shows loud and clear over here. Then you have like the Knight of Cups over here, and it's talking about lovey-dovey attitude. Maybe you are singing love songs to someone, maybe you are serenading someone. This is that Knight in the shining armor, or maybe somebody is coming toward you, right? And it's with the Queen of Swords. And so this is like water, this is air, but Queen of Swords is reversed. You feel maybe that you're making advances towards someone and somebody is just shutting you down. Somebody is just like not willing, not capable of even listening to you. Queen of Swords is, oh my freaking God, impossible when she comes reversed. It will be like poison, for God's sake, right? Like, it's just like somebody who doesn't want to hear, I don't want to hear it anymore, just I know, and you don't count. And that's kind of like where it's bothering you. This whole sense of imbalance is being created, that you feel that there is like no justice in the situation, right? And there's like also the moon. Oh my gosh, how many majors we will have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 already, right? So the moon reversed is not bad. It could talk about some kind of jealousy. It could talk about some kind of illusions. It could talk about maybe waking up from the situation that maybe got out of hand, and now we need to kind of like put it together properly, right? The moon is also kind of like turning like this like moonlight is turning into daylight when it kind of like reverses. So there is like this sense of transparency that really needs to take place, but it's almost like a rude awakening with this Queen of Swords, who is like screaming and yelling and bitching, and it's kind of like not really much fun to be around. So I don't know, maybe you're missing a friend, maybe you're missing friends, more than one. And there's like this 3 of Cups. Look at this joyful play, except the cats don't eat grapes, right? And they shouldn't be eating grapes. But this 3 of Cups here is really signifying that you're missing some kind of connection. It can also talk about the 3 people that could be happening, right? Maybe, you know, there is a situation where, you know, the extra person is pulling the string, or one way you have the other, because remember, this was like this came on the bottom of the deck over here, right? And then this is your card, another major arcana. This is unbelievable how much you have, but this one is reversed. So something is going to set things in motion. That, look at this, 2 karma cards. That karmically there's like something coming to the surface. It doesn't necessarily mean that if something bad happens that you're going to have like horrifying month. It just simply means that you need to process certain things. And maybe up to this point, did you watch this movie Groundhog Day? He keeps reliving the same day over and over and over and learning new skills and kind of like trying to fight the karma, trying to fight destiny. And then one day he goes, well, wait a minute, that's really simple. How did I not see that before? So do not try to fight it. Just like you need to go with the flow, which is really, really important over here. There's like somebody, you have the 6 of Pentacles here, somebody who is a taker in a situation, somebody who doesn't believe in give and take, somebody's maybe hiding something. 6 of Pentacles is generally in the traditional deck showing the dude with a scale, 2 of the scale cards. So this one and this one both showed up here. There's like something is balancing out. Somebody feels that you really wronged them, or you feel that somebody really wronged you. It's kind of clear over here, and something could be taking like a negative turn as a result. Look at this. You feel a bit stuck this month. You might actually also have sleep disturbances. You might have the issues popping up, resurfacing. It could be lots of thoughts going through your head, not knowing how to face them, not knowing how to deal with it. You might be, as I said, like this is kind of like to me dark. We have the stars, we have the moon, and then we have this card, and this also partially has this darkness in it, which kind of like means that the solution is not self-evident over here. So let's see, environment is 10 of Cups. It looks like you are surrounded. Okay, now we have a 10 and we have a 10 over here. You are surrounded really with the comfort. You're surrounded with people who love you. Your family is really there for you. So that's not a source. There's like something here that it looks like you have triggered somebody who got really, really ticked off with you. And you are maybe even wondering how did that situation, and this situation could be not necessarily in immediate past, it could be in a past that is now revisited, and that's what happens during Mercury retrograde, right? The past just comes to the surface, and this is like definitely happening over here when I see this like 10, the Wheel of Fortune reversed. So there is like somebody who either holds a grudge against you or who hasn't forgotten something, which is kind of crucial. Hopes and fears, you have the Devil. It's the third party situation of some sort that you finding yourself in it, have been in it. Somebody's pulling the strings, and I mean, we have seen this betrayal over here. We see this third party over here. Maybe somebody needs to divorce, maybe somebody needs to marry, maybe promises have been made and not fulfilled, maybe somebody just pulled a rug under somebody's feet. This is falling in your hopes and fears, meaning you kind of like really feel that you have to dance somebody else's tune, like a little marionette, and you kind of like need to follow somebody else's rules, which you don't necessarily want to. And for such a freedom loving sign as you are, this is extremely difficult, that you feel that you have those constraints no matter where you go. So no matter, no wonder why you're feeling this kind of like pressure. You might feel headaches this month. You might feel, you know, like, I mean, that somebody says something innocently and you will think that there's like something directed at you. So you'll be kind of like really, really edgy. Yeah, there is like this Ace of Wands, something that you want to revive, and something old is not coming through over here. Maybe you had hopes for somebody, because this also can be codependency. It can mean that you really want somebody, but that somebody is really, really not good for you, or somebody is married, or somebody is like otherwise engaged, and you shouldn't be really messing with their life. But nonetheless, right, the craving, the need is still there. So it's really, really hard to shake it off, right? So it's kind of coming to that point of realization, because look at this 10 and 1 energies are there, and then we have a 10 over here, then we have 1 over here as well, then we have 2 that looks like 11, so it's, then we have another 1 over here. So there are lots of cards over here that are really talking about you need to turn this cycle around, because from all of these cards that sort of like either appear similar or not, it looks like that your environment is really kind to you, and that you also have a really good perception, that you kind of like have ability to have the high emotional intelligence and read your environment. But it's also telling me there are like lots of machinations happening, and you really need to stay away from it, because this is where the boss, the karmic boss, the universe, the spirit, God, looking down. And right now it is your time to straighten things out, or to simply say, okay, well, this is a rough patch, I just have to go through it, it's just the way it is, instead of trying to use tricks or trying to kind of like misdirect somebody. Magicians misdirect, right? Magicians always want you to believe that the action is here where the action is somewhere else, and that's the whole point. So don't be that magician. If this is done to you, you'll be looking in the right direction, or you might get very mad that somebody is really insulting your intelligence. So very complex month. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're like only 22. You have half of them. And look at how many more cards I have. It's, guys, a month where you will not have much option. You'll have to keep doing things. And do them right. Do them justly. Do them fairly. And things are going to work out. But don't do them that way. You will really not believe what is basically happening. So use this intuition that is really working for you. Use this kind of like goal-oriented approach, and feel comfort of your family, because those are going to be those kind of like elements that will really, really ground you this month. So my dear Saggies, I hope I hear some comments from you to see what's this all up. This is some big freaking universe kind of like let's clean the slate kind of happening over here. And if you want a reading with me, please contact me via cattarot.ca. And until the next month, also join my social media, and I'll see you there. Love you. I wish you all the best. Buckle up.